We're live for happy hour at home, and we're going to make an old fashioned today on happy hour at home because, of course, we are ushering in a Memorial Day weekend, and all gave some gave all. So it is a time of reflection and not celebration as far as Memorial Day goes. I know it's the start of summer. I know it's a long weekend. It's very exciting. But if you see a Gold Star family or a Gold Star parent, that means that they have lost someone they love, probably a child or a brother or a sister or a father, to war. And that's what Memorial Day is all about. We honor the men and women that paid the ultimate sacrifice so that we can enjoy a long weekend, the freedoms that we enjoy here in America. And the old fashioned, I figured, would be the perfect cocktail to honor those men and women because it's been around almost as long as our armed services. Yeah, like over 100 years, close to 200 years. And, you could say it's just kind of like a shot of bourbon, but it's a little bit more than that. And because bourbon is front and center on this cocktail, you do want to use something good. And I'm wearing my honor flight hat that I distinctly had the honor of being the guardian, is what they called us, for a World War II vet. I don't know that there are too many alive. And sweet Jim Baker passed on a couple of weeks before Her Majesty the Queen, both at the age of 96. He joined the military to go fight the Nazis when he was in his teens. I think he was like 15, 16, something like that. They couldn't check. They didn't have the interwebs back then. So Jim Baker from Kentucky, bless your soul, my friend, and thank you for fighting the good fight. We're going to use horse soldier bourbon, another distinct intention that I'm using this horse soldier bourbon. Feast your eyes. I got to know this because they built American Freedom Distillery in St. Pete. They were building it when I left after being there for 17 years. I got to know one of the founders who was one of the 12 horsemen. If you've ever heard of or seen the movie 12 Strong, it was based on the fact that 12 Army Special Ops, Special Forces went into Afghanistan. I think it was a couple of months after 9/11 and went into Afghanistan on horses. It's an incredible story. The movie 12 Strong, all I'll say about that is they did not actually interview or compensate any of the 12. It was based on a book that did interview a couple of the men, but I had the pleasure of meeting Scott. I don't know who portrayed him in the movie. I have a suspicion, but I'm not sure because they changed all the names. You don't know. So anyway, Horse Soldier Bourbon, a true effort on behalf of our heroes to support their families. So I love it. It's outstanding. We're going to use a straight bourbon whiskey. Why bourbon and not whiskey? Oh, wait. Is all bourbon whiskey? Yes. Is all whiskey bourbon? No. What's the difference? Well, bourbon has to be made with at least 51% corn mash. All whiskeys are made from some blend of a mash of grains, right? But bourbon, kind of like beer in Germany and Belgium and wine in France, definitely, it's very highly regulated. It can only be made in America. I don't know if there's distilleries. I do wonder in all 50 states. I know that Horse Soldier Bourbon is distilled in Ohio. I believe at the time, last time I talked to Scott, he was working on, they were trying to open a distillery in Tennessee, I believe, where they all were when they got the call that the towers had been hit. Um, but this bourbon is also special because this this is a copper plate, but the plates were made, or at least the mold was made from one of the pieces of the Twin Towers. I mean, it's all just an incredible story. Look up 12 Horse Soldier Bourbon. You can also look up 12 Strong if you want to watch a military movie this weekend. But Horse Soldier Bourbon, look it up online and read their incredible story, and then go get you some. Okay, but that's why we're using that. It's a very simple cocktail. Again, it's been around forever, but you want a good bourbon because it's front and center. It's some would say maybe it's just a shot of bourbon with a little sweet and a little spice, if you will, and everything nice. So for the spice, we're going to use some Angostura aromatic bitters, like that. All you have to do, you're going to use sugar cubes. I'm going to use a sugar cube. Each sugar cube, I do believe, is 1 teaspoon of sugar. If you don't have any sugar cubes, you can use 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar. I know that it's more modern, you might say, to use um, like some simple syrup or some gum syrup, which is supposed to be a little bit more, give you a better mouthfeel. But we're going to do it the old school way, just like the old barkeeps did back in the day, because that's what this show is all about. You probably need a jigger. You need a mixing glass and a mixing spoon. Let's see, what else do you need? You need your Angostura bitters. You need an orange peel because we're going to express some of the peel, the oils, into the drink. We're chilling our rocks glass with ice. We're going to first, I'm going to soak it. It's a personal preference. It calls for 3 dashes. This is a very highly rated recipe. It calls for 3 dashes, but sometimes that can be kind of tricky. So here's a little trick. Put it on top of this, and then see that? It's soaking up. Okay, that's probably enough. And then we're going to add a teaspoon of water. I already took the liberty of getting some water. It was a disaster, actually. Okay, so we're going to put the water on that. And again, there's so many rules and regulations and then we're going to have to just try to, get the sugar to blend in a wee bit, because you want a little bit of texture, but you don't want to eat a sugar cube. Not at all, my friend. Okay, so the rules and regulations to make bourbon in America, and not anybody can make it, of course, but it's like it has to be, put in new white oak barrels. That gives it some of the great like honey or vanilla flavors. It's a little bit sweeter because, it has 51% or more corn mash in there versus some other grains or like a rye. Oh, we're doing okay here. We're doing okay. Might take a little bit of a minute. I'll just keep mixing that. And then, 125% max in the barrel, and then at least 80% proof once it gets bottled. Why the difference? Well, it's because some producers will, water it down to make it more palatable, if you will. That's not what you want. You want somebody that knows what they're doing, right? If you want water in your bourbon, you're going to add it yourself. Okay, there we go. This is working pretty well, actually. Just takes a little bit of elbow grease, and I can leave a few granules in there, but just 1 sugar cube, few dashes of bitters, and then we are going to put 2 ounces of our favorite horse soldier. Whoopsie, I just poured out water. Okay, 2 ounces of the horse soldier bourbon, small end of the jigger. I don't like to spill anything like this. Okay, as you can tell, I'm almost out of my horse soldier bourbon. I gotta stock up. Okay, we'll mix that around a little bit more. And then we're gonna put some ice in here to get it cold, but we don't want to water it down too much. So we're just gonna stir like the dickens, stir like the dickens. Okay, get it nice and cold. Again, our glass is chilling, and I've got some cubed ice. We're gonna strain it. Now this is a julep strainer. This is a hawthorn strainer. We're gonna use a hawthorn strainer to strain it into our glass. And we're gonna remember to put the good ice in there, because that's just the ice holding its place. I think 15 to 30 seconds or whatever. You just don't want to water it down too much. And the longer it's in there, the more friction. Okay. Okay, so let's see. This is going to be good. I'm very excited about this. Did I get out my cherries? I did not. So let me get out the cherries real quick, Lack. Did I? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to use these. Woodford Reserve is another great, there it is. Woodford Reserve is another great bourbon. I like it very much. And these are Woodford Reserve, easy for me to say, cherries. So good. So good. I mean, you could use some Luxardo, whatever you got. Here's my strainer. Let me make sure to pour out this ice. I'm going to put in a good ice cube, nice big rock. And then we're going to strain it over this. Well, actually, you know what? Before I even do that, I want to get my orange peel, nice big peel. If you really wanted to be fancy, oh, see, that was bad. If you really want to be fancy, though, you can cut it to be a more uniform size. Did I even put a knife out for that? No, I could. Okay, that looks pretty. Let me just trim it up a wee bit because I want it to be pretty. Of course I do. Okay. This is, and you might, I just told Alexa, play some military music. And she's doing it. She's doing it. Okay. And then we're going to express the oils. Remember, skin side out. I did a pretty good job peeling that. I don't see any pith on there. So, you know, if this were slow-mo or closer, you could see do. And just kind of do that. I'm going to toss that in. And we're going to strain it into the glass. That's pretty. That's pretty. And then I just want a wee garnish. Okay, I've got my little bamboo picks. Love these things. My neighbor promised me there was at least one left. I lent him my cherries. He had a friend come into town. Oh, there's some in there. Plenty. Okay. La di da. These are so good. So good. Okay. And there we have it. A bourbon old fashioned. Cheers to you and yours. May you have a safe weekend. And thank a Gold Star family and thank the good soldiers above for and sailors for the work that they did for our freedom. So cheers to you and yours. Mm, very nice. That's good. Cheers.